Well, we're only a couple of days away from Paris. Hot sun again now as the riders cover another near 6 hours in the saddle as the Tour de France approaches its final weekend. Today they'll pass through the beautiful departments of the Lot, the Dordogne, and they'll finish in the Charente. And they'll see some great scenery. Will be sure to be another tough day in the Tour de France. Well, let's have a look back at the start today in Cahors. All the leaders' jerseys, the polka dot worn by Soler of Colombia. The white jersey being worn today by Ahmed Chiruka. It's on loan from the yellow jersey, Alberto Contador. That's first day in yellow for him. There's the green jersey in the hot seat of Tom Boonen, out on the highway after 15 kilometres. Little breakaway trying to get clear. This is Frederic Willems being chased by Johan Pinot and Sandy Cassar. They've just got away from the peloton. 3-2 and 1 points over the top of the Côte de Salvezou. Onto the second climb, breakaway being established now with Lefebvre going ahead of Bogart and Cassar. Onwards to climb number 3, which is the Côte de Saint-Martial, and the breakaway had been joined by Axel Merckx after a long chase. Willems had gone missing because of a collision with the dog, and note the shorts here, the rider in white, because he's got half of them missing. That's Sandy Cassar. Well, as we join the live pictures now, I can tell you this breakaway is shot up. Nobody's chasing it. And there is Contador being escorted by Team Discovery Channel. And the gap now is in excess of 14 minutes, which has moved Bogart up by almost half of his overnight deficit.
And it's moved him up. If we're to stop the race right now, Michael Bogart would have actually climbed up into 9th position in the overall classification, which makes me think maybe one or two riders are going to chase a little bit later on. Great racing conditions on the course this afternoon, 81 degrees Fahrenheit. Really sunny throughout the latter part of the afternoon, not much of a breeze. Theoretically, it should be the day for the sprinters. However, with that breakaway 14 minutes in front, they're going to really have to do a serious chase running down towards the end.
We've got watches on, heart rates on Christophe Monero, Karlstrom, Peter Rollisch, Garcia Acosta, Marcus Berghardt. The boys wearing our pulsometers today. We'll have a look how the hearts continue, but really it's a pretty routine bridging stage now. The breakaway is gone. This is what Cadel Evans wanted, was a breakaway to get clear and the pressure to turn off in the bunch, because he's trying to save as much strength as he can for tomorrow. But as you can see, despite all of the controversy of the Tour de France, the crowds will refuse to turn its back on this race. They're applauding the riders all of the way. Yes, of course, we all want a clean Tour, but this race has lost none of its spectacle.
No, it hasn't. The people will turn out anyway, because although we know there's a great battle going on against the problem of doping in not just this sport, Phil, but every sport in the world, the crowd know that the Tour de France is a spectacle, and they know now they're looking at a bunch of guys who've pretty much made it right around the hexagon of France. These guys we're looking at here, they can almost see up the road, and what they're looking for is the Eiffel Tower, and that's where they want to get to on Sunday.
Well, their start 189, we've got 141 heading for the final weekend. Two of the teams still intact, Tom Boonen's Quick-Step team and Gerolsteiner as well. So the German team and the Belgian team, feeding time in the zoo today as we just passed through the feeding station here. This is in Journiac in the Périgord region of France. And no big action here. They'll have to react, I think, in the end to the attack by Michael Bogart. He was determined to get into a breakaway today. Morale in the team, as you can understand, after yesterday when they stopped the yellow jersey from continuing in Michael Rasmussen, was rock bottom, and halfway along the road Denis Menchov abandoned the race. The rest finished. There are 6 Rabobank riders still in the race, and apparently at breakfast time this morning the morale had returned, and it looks as though Michael Bogart, riding his last Tour de France, is making a big day out.
It's important for him, I think, to go out with a fanfare, but at the moment we're looking at the main field being almost a quarter of an hour in arrears. For that breakaway to succeed, it depends on how the tactics are in the main field, and if the teams of the sprinters decide they want to have a crack at the victory today. If, for example, Tom Boonen wants to try and get the victory, he's going to have to send up Quick-Step in the latter part of the race, because still for the moment 14 minutes is not unassailable. He attentive, he waited to see if anybody else was actually going to make the move, and as soon as he saw that Lefebvre was making the move, he backed off. Cassar is actually conserving a little bit of energy. Over these last couple of kilometers, he's never really had to kick He's saving the only kick that he's got for the final 500 meters. Now Merckx goes.
Well, this is the way you're going to hit until somebody calls it right. Merckx looks over. Lefebvre is very, very observant, but that's fainted. Lefebvre thought he'd answered him, and Merckx kicked again. Now he's got to close the gap.
You know, I'd really like Axel Merckx to win this at 3 kilometers to go, though it is still 4 men. The one man who's hoping to survive, he will try and follow all the moves, is 161 in the white jersey at the back. Sandy Cassar is battered. Look at that move.
That's the way to go. He's taken the inside. They all never saw him go. That is a great move by Sandy Cassar. He's got to take his chance there. He's got to give it a go. And look at that by the man who is injured.
Well, he was injured, but he had a beautiful move. He got the surprise. That's the only way to get the gap. Now they're going to make Michael Bogert do all of the pacemaking to try and pull it back. Lefebvre right onto his wheel. Axel Merckx, look at his body now, rocking around on the top of his saddle. Sandy Cassar may well have broken his duck here this afternoon. Never won a stage of the Tour de France. He's been second 3 times. He's 2.5 kilometers to go, and he's hit them really hard.
Well, I don't think they were expecting that from Cassar, and he got them at the right time. He used that obstruction in the road to take the shorter way round. Bogart will be fuming here. He's going to try and put matters to rights. He's gone again. He's realised that 2 kilometres to go and a slight uphill finish. Cassar has got a jet motor on here. He is absolutely flying.
But Michael Bogert has got the bit between his teeth. He's not giving any victories away here this afternoon. He's had a tough Tour de France. He's ridden on the front end of the main field mile after mile in the mountains. Now in the final kilometres here, he's looking to try and nail back Sandy Cassar. He's almost into the wheel of the Frenchman. He will not give up until he gets there. Neither will the Frenchman give up until he sees that there's somebody right in his slipstream. Looks over his shoulder. Don't do that when you're in a breakaway like this. You must not look back, because you lose a little bit of your momentum.
1.4 kilometres from the line now as they start to race for the finish here. Merckx is suffering badly. He's trying to hang on to Lefebvre, who's inspired by the fact he is French, and that's a very typical Bogart move. Stick to your guns and try and claw this man back before the line. They are under 1 kilometre to go. There's absolutely nothing in this.
Cassar now has gone underneath the 1,000 metre to go, but look at Michael Bogert. He's finding something deep inside his body. Laurent Lefebvre has had the easy ride because he's right on the wheel of Bogart. Axel Merckx, though, is in the slipstream. He's looking weak. He's looking tired. Bogert nice and calm now. He feels he's got himself into the slipstream of the Frenchman. He's checking his gears. He knows it's a slightly uphill finish. He knows the explosion to the line is going to be very important. Cassar gave a big move there. Bogert is in the ideal position, but watch out for this late burst from Axel Merckx. He will not give up himself either. Cassar is still in first position. Bogart is looking very nervous. You can almost feel the twitching. He's waiting for the moment to start the sprint. I don't think he's going to be denied here this afternoon.
300 metres to go to the line, and now it is the Français de Girard. How he's kept that 2 or 3 metre advantage. This could be advantage Merckx or Lefebvre, because if you take a look at Bogart, he's not going to start the sprint till the last minute, and now he's got to go because Sandy Cassar thinks they're not going to catch him. If he gets away with this, he was the carrot right in front of them. Now they're ripping for the line now, and still Sandy Cassar is trying to go. Axel Merckx is fading away. Cassar has got a terrific win, and they've only themselves to blame. That was a fabulous finish by Sandy Cassar. The man who fell off, the injured man of the breakaway, is the stage winner of the Tour de France.
Well, he did the superb move there. He waited. He was at the front. He always had 1 or 2 metres advantage. He waited until the last possible moment because everybody was tired. Nobody could go for the long sprint here, and his kick gave him about 5 bicycle lengths over Michael Bogert. Michael Bogert has never been the great sprinter. Axel Merckx accelerates up through the middle there, Phil, but basically that was just a question of survival. Second for Merckx, third Lefebvre, fourth for Michael Bogert.
So the man who was born in Paris, where the Tour de France will end in just 48 hours' time, has reminded us all that the Tour de France is on occasions for the French. A great victory by Sandy Cassar there. They just got onto him, but he never gave up hope, and he never gave up putting the pressure on. And they were confused because none of the 3 behind wanted to open up that final killing instinct to get on the back of Sandy Cassar. He got the win. Well done.
Well, he's wanted that win for an awful long time, Phil, but that was a great move, and it was the uphill finish down towards the end that caught everybody by surprise. Axel Merckx will have to say thank you to Michael Bogert for his second place, because Bogert was the man who really dug deep to pull this all back. But the Frenchman gets the win there, the win that he's been chasing for many, many years.
It just shows you never give up trying, because the way Cassar did that, it was absolutely superb. I mean, Sandy Cassar here, he was caught. It was all over, but he never slowed down, and they couldn't get bid for it today. So we can expect to see those three sprinters break clear of this pack. There's still another roundabout to go round here before we get into the 1 kilometre to go. As I say, the time doesn't really matter. Over 7.5 minutes has now passed by at the finish since Cassar won the day.
Well, Tom Boonen has 22 points advantage over Robbie Hunter in this competition, and for 5th place, by the way, gives you 22 points, and that's why they have to battle it out at this stage. Right on the front there, Hed Steegmans is looking for his man Tom Boonen. Robbie Hunter is not very far away, and you can see Robbie Hunter locked almost, well, you can almost see him locked onto the wheel there of Erik Zabel. Zabel right on the wheel of Tom Boonen. Boonen in the green, he's the big man of the sprint now. They're launching the sprint for him. Look at Julian Dean on the right-hand side as well.
And 400 to go now. The last lead-out man as Tom Boonen is tucked right into his stream. And in fact, Julian Dean has been ridden out of this one now. Sebastian Chavanel coming on the far right with Robert Foster on his wheel. And Hushov's in the centre. Here comes Robbie Hunter through the middle. A late bid by Hunter. No, is he trying to get up alongside Tom Boonen? The hill might favour Hunter as Hunter digs deep. It is Boonen on the line over Robbie Hunter. A battle of prestige. Congratulations by Hunter. I think that will do for Tom Boonen to win the green jersey, but the two greatest sprinters of the Tour finish side by side in 5th and 6th position.
Great sprint there to the line by Tom Boonen, ahead of his arch rivals Robbie Hunter and Erik Zabel. Yes, he's increased his advantage slightly in that competition, Phil, by a couple of points to Hunter, a few more points to Erik Zabel, but it's still a battle that's going to go right the way down to the Champs-Élysées. Look at big Tom here. That man just looks like sheer power. He's concentrating on the line. He's not even looking to see if there's going to be any challenge. All he's looking for is that white line across the road, and at the moment that his wheel crosses it, that's the time when he'll cross his effort and look to see what damage have I done, and he looks back to see the face of Cadel Evans.
Well, as the splintered pack comes in towards the end, an average speed for the day of 40 kilometres an hour. That's a very high finish. Tomorrow it is showdown time with the big time trial. The sprinters now can have a back seat tomorrow, as they haven't had today. They've had to sprint. And the winner of the stage, a Frenchman.